Welcome back to the unedited script. Human beings are naturally social actors. We spend our entire lives performing, adjusting our behavior to fit the room, hiding our true intentions, and playing the parts that society demands. But what if you stopped viewing this as a limitation and started using it as a weapon? Most people are terrible actors. They are clumsy, transparent, and easily read. But the true masters of human nature know the secret. Life is a performance, and the ones who control the role they play are the ones who control the outcome. In this Chapter 3 Masterclass, we are diving deep into the law of role-playing. We will strip away the naive belief in total sincerity and reveal why being yourself is often a tactical error. You are about to master the art of the mask. We will dissect how to detach from your emotions, analyze the roles others are forced to play, and strategically adopt the persona that forces people to respect you. Stop reacting. Start directing the scene. Let's dismantle the script and master the performance. This is the ultimate guide to social dominance. Chapter 3. The Law of Role-Playing. See through people's masks. Every single day, the moment we step out of our homes, we step onto a grand global stage. Without even realizing it, we transform into actors. We don costume after costume, adjusting our lines, tempering our expressions, and playing specific roles that society expects from us. We play the diligent employee, the supportive partner, the confident leader, or the harmless friend. We wear these psychological masks not out of malice, but out of necessity. It is the social lubricant that keeps the gears of civilization running smoothly without grinding against each other. But the danger arises when we forget that we are surrounded by performers. Most people make the critical mistake of taking everything at face value. When someone smiles warmly at them, they assume it's a reflection of genuine affection. When someone speaks with absolute humility, they assume it's a reflection of an honest soul. They listen only to the words being spoken, completely blind to the subtle, hidden script operating beneath the surface. To master the law of role-playing, you must train your eyes to see past the performance. You must realize that a person's words are carefully filtered through their conscious brain. They say what they want you to believe. If you want to unlock the objective truth about who they are, you have to stop listening with just your ears and start observing with your intellect. You must shift your focus toward the things they cannot easily control, their nonverbal cues, their micro-expressions, and their instinctual reactions under pressure. Think of it as developing a second layer of vision. When you look at a person playing a role, you are no longer blinded by the brilliance of their mask. Instead, you begin to look for the tiny cracks where the mask inevitably slips, because no matter how skilled the actor is, no human being can maintain a perfect performance indefinitely. The truth always leaks out, leaking through a sudden shift in their tone, a fleeting shadow in their eyes, or an unscripted gesture that lasts for less than a fraction of a second. Mastering this law means becoming the director of the scene, quietly sitting in the audience, decoding every single movement on the stage of life. To decode the true nature of the performers around us, we must first learn how to read the body's hidden vocabulary. While the mouth is highly trained to lie, the human nervous system is remarkably honest. When a person is acting out a role that contradicts their true internal state, their body experiences a subtle form of friction. This psychological friction always manifests as a leak, a physical tell that betrays the performance. The first place to look for these leaks is in the eyes. We often look at a smiling face and assume everything is well. But a conscious observer looks closer. They analyze the muscles around the eyes. A genuine smile of warmth or joy, what scientists call a Duchenne smile, always engages the muscles at the outer corners, creating tiny, natural crinkles. A forced or performative smile, however, only activates the muscles around the mouth. The rest of the face remains strangely cold and dead. If someone is complimenting your success, but their eyes remain wide, fixed, and completely unbothered by that natural warmth, you are not witnessing admiration. You are witnessing a mask of politeness, masking a cold indifference or secret envy. The second, and perhaps most honest zone of the body, is the hands and feet. Because we spend so much energy monitoring our facial expressions, we completely forget about our lower extremities. When someone is trying to project absolute confidence and calm during a meeting, their upper body might look perfectly composed, but beneath the table, their feet might be pointed directly toward the exit door, or their hands might be tightly gripping their own thumbs, an instinctual self-soothing gesture that indicates high internal stress or anxiety. The body is practically screaming its discomfort, even while the voice remains steady and controlled. But reading these individual signals is only half the battle. To avoid making critical errors in judgment, you must establish what is known as a baseline. Every human being has a unique set of natural quirks. Some people naturally blink faster, some talk with their hands constantly, and others naturally maintain less eye contact. An amateur mistakes a single nervous gesture as a sign of deception. An elite observer, however, first studies how a person behaves when they are completely relaxed and under zero pressure. Once you establish that baseline of comfort, you don't look for generic signs of lying. You look for sudden deviations from that baseline. The moment the topic of conversation changes and their natural rhythm abruptly shifts, that is the exact coordinates of the crack in their mask. Once you master the art of establishing a baseline and detecting physical leaks, you must upgrade your observation skills to detect the deeper, psychological masks that people wear to consciously manipulate their environment. These are not just momentary tells, these are full-scale manufactured personalities designed to gain power, sympathy, or unearned trust. The first major psychological mask you will encounter on the global stage is the mask of extreme humility. In any professional or social setting, you will run into individuals who go completely out of their way to project an image of absolute selflessness. They constantly downplay their achievements, praise everyone else in the room, and speak in a tone that suggests they are entirely without ego. They want the world to view them as saint-like figures who only live to serve. But a deep understanding of human nature requires you to look beneath this heavy layer of modesty. True humility is quiet, natural, and unadvertised. When humility becomes performance, when a person is constantly reminding you of how humble they are, it is almost always a defensive shield. Beneath that soft, polite exterior often lies a massive, hypersensitive ego that cannot handle direct competition or criticism. By pretending to be small, they protect themselves from being attacked, while quietly manipulating others into giving them the constant validation they crave. If you cross a person wearing the mask of false humility, or if you challenge their hidden authority, that soft persona will instantly vanish, replaced by a cold, calculating resentment that will shock you. The second highly effective psychological mask you will frequently encounter is the mask of aggressive honesty. We live in a cautious world where everyone carefully filters their speech, so when someone enters our lives speaking with brutal, unfiltered bluntness, our natural instinct is to trust them. We tell ourselves, well, they might be rude, but at least they are honest. They say exactly what's on their mind. Master manipulators understand this loophole perfectly. They consciously adopt a rough, blunt tone to bypass your natural defenses. By pretending to have no filter, they create a powerful illusion of absolute transparency. They use this engineered trust to make you believe their intentions are pure. But if you watch closely, you will notice a dark pattern. Their brutal honesty is almost always a one-way street. They love delivering harsh truths to others under the guise of just trying to help. But the exact moment you try to give them a taste of their own medicine, their face tightens, their defenses go up, and they treat your objective feedback as a declaration of war. Their bluntness isn't a reflection of honesty. It is simply a socially acceptable weapon they use to dominate the room. To pierce through these sophisticated masks, you cannot rely on passive observation. You must learn to actively test the mask by creating controlled moments of pressure. One of the most effective ways to do this is through the tool of calculated disagreement. When you are dealing with someone whose true motives you cannot read, do not simply agree with them to keep the peace. Instead, wait for a non-critical point in the conversation and gently but firmly offer an opposing view. Do not be hostile, just be objective. Then completely stop talking and closely analyze their immediate instinctual reaction. A person who is genuinely secure will welcome the dialogue, but a person who is playing a highly calculated role will experience a brief internal panic. Because their mask is a rigid structure built on total control, your disagreement acts like an unscripted tear in their play. Look for that microsecond of tight tension in their jaw, the sudden narrowing of their eyes, or a subtle sharpness in their tone before they force themselves back into their polite persona. That tiny fraction of a second where their composure slipped, that is the raw, unedited truth of their character breaking through the performance. Mastering the theater of human nature does not mean you become cynical, nor does it mean you stop trusting the world. It simply means you refuse to be naive. When you develop the clarity to see through people's masks, you are no longer at the mercy of their performances. You become immune to the charm of false saints and the intimidation of false leaders. The ultimate goal of the law of role-playing is to achieve a state of strategic detachment. When someone enters your life and starts putting on an elaborate show, your ego should never get involved. You don't need to call them out, you don't need to argue, and you certainly don't need to tear their mask off in public. Tearing off someone's mask only forces them into a corner, making them your permanent enemy. Instead, you simply sit back, enjoy the performance, and quietly collect the data. You let them play their role, while you make your strategic moves based entirely on the cold, hard reality of their baseline actions. At the same time, this law grants you absolute mastery over your own presentation. Once you understand the rules of the stage, you can consciously choose when to wear a mask and when to take it off. You don't wear a mask to deceive, you wear it to protect your privacy, navigate difficult environments, and connect with people on a level they can understand. As we close this third chapter, let this be your ultimate advantage. Let the rest of the world get lost in the noise of empty words, forced smiles, and scripted behavior. You, however, will look past the stage lights. You will see the cracks, read the leaks, and decode the hidden motives with absolute precision. The curtain is up, the actors are in place, but you are no longer just a member of the audience, you are the master decoder of the human script. Episode 3 now ends. Now let's move beyond the basics. We are entering the realm of advanced role-playing mastery. We must begin with the fundamental truth of human nature. Life is a stage, and every single one of us is an actor. The moment you were born, you were handed a script you did not write and assigned a costume you did not choose. Society, your family, and your peers demand that you play a specific role: the good child, the obedient employee, the loyal friend, the rational leader. Most people accept these roles without question. They spend their entire lives trapped within the confines of a character created for them by others. They believe their masks are their true faces. This is the primary cause of human misery and stagnation. When you are busy maintaining a role you are not living, you are performing. To master human nature, you must first understand that you are not a static entity. You are a fluid, dynamic consciousness capable of assuming any persona you choose. You must stop believing in the rigid identity that society has forced upon you. The person you think you are is just a habit, a series of conditioned responses that you repeat daily. The law of role-playing dictates that you must become a conscious actor. You must realize that the mask you wear is a tool, not your reality. If you don't control the role you play, others will control it for you. They will cast you as the villain, the victim, or the fool in their own dramas. You have been sleepwalking through life, reciting lines written by people who do not have your best interests at heart. Today, that performance ends. We are going to strip away the layers of social conditioning and look at the raw, malleable material of your true self. This chapter is not about becoming fake. It is about becoming dangerously authentic by understanding that all the world truly is a stage, and you are the director of your own performance. The game begins now. If you want to influence others, you must first master the art of social camouflage. The most powerful people in history were not those who stood out by being loud or aggressive, but those who understood how to blend into any environment. They were chameleons. They could mirror the values, the language, and the emotional frequency of the people around them. The majority of people are trapped in the authenticity trap. They believe that they must always be themselves, regardless of the consequences. But what they call themselves is usually just a lack of discipline and a lack of social intelligence. They are reactive, not proactive. They are slaves to their own moods. When you act with social camouflage, you are not being dishonest. You are being tactical. You are choosing the version of yourself that is most effective for the specific situation at hand. You are playing the role that the audience requires, not because you are weak, but because you are in control. Consider the predator. It does not advertise its true nature. It mimics its surroundings to get close to its prey. If you are too transparent, if your true intentions are always on the surface, you become predictable. And the moment you become predictable, you become vulnerable. Mastering this requires you to detach from your own ego. You must stop caring about being seen and start caring about being effective. When you enter a room, you should be asking yourself, what role does this environment demand of me to achieve my goal? Once you identify that role, you step into it fully. You play the part with conviction. And then, when the goal is achieved, you shed the mask and return to your center. You are the actor. The role is just the costume. The greatest danger in the art of role-playing is not that you will deceive others, it is that you will deceive yourself. This is the stage where most people lose the game. They play a role for so long, the corporate climber, the cynical intellectual, or the fake altruist, that the lines between the performance and their own identity begin to blur. They forget that they are the actor. They become the character. This is what we call internalization. When you internalize a mask, you lose your flexibility. You become rigid, predictable, and ultimately a prisoner of your own creation. If you must be the tough guy in every situation to maintain your image, you lose the ability to be empathetic, strategic, or nuanced. Your mask becomes your prison bars. To avoid this, you must maintain a constant, detached awareness of your own psyche. You need a witness within yourself, a part of your consciousness that observes the actor playing the role. This witness knows that the performance is just a means to an end. It never confuses the costume with the skin. True power lies in the ability to switch roles without losing your center. You can be fierce when necessary, charming when it serves your goals, and silent when others are busy talking. But you never become those things. You are the space in which these roles manifest. Once you realize this, you are no longer a slave to your own persona. You become the director of your fate, capable of navigating any social landscape with cold, calculated precision. Remember, the mask is a tool, not a mirror. Don't fall in love with your own reflection. Now that you understand the mask, let's discuss the strategy. Role-playing is not just about personal freedom, it is a weapon of influence. In any high-stakes environment, whether it is a business negotiation, a social gathering, or a complex relationship, the person who controls the atmosphere controls the outcome. If you are predictable, you are a pawn. If you are fluid, you are the player. Observe the people around you. They are constantly signaling who they are, what they want, and what they fear. They are broadcasting their weaknesses through their roles. The arrogant leader is screaming for validation. The victim is demanding attention. By stepping into a counter role, you instantly shift the power dynamic. When someone tries to intimidate you, do not play the role of the intimidated. Play the role of the calm, amused observer. By refusing to follow the script they have written for you, you break their leverage. You force them to react to your energy rather than you reacting to theirs. To master this, you must learn to mirror and match. People trust those who feel familiar. If you are talking to a high-energy person, bring more intensity to your role. If you are dealing with a reserved, intellectual type, lower your volume and focus on logic. You are not changing your core values, you are adjusting your delivery. You are speaking the language they understand. This is not manipulation, this is social competence. However, remember the ultimate rule: never reveal your full hand. Keep an element of mystery. People are fascinated by what they cannot fully categorize. If they think they have you figured out, they lose interest. Or worse, they begin to predict your moves. Keep them guessing by shifting your persona slightly. Just enough to be unpredictable, but never enough to be untrustworthy. Ultimately, your goal is to reach a state of sovereign acting. You are so comfortable in your own skin that you can wear any role as a light garment. You are not defined by the roles you play. You are defined by the consciousness that chooses them. When you reach this level of mastery, you stop being a character in someone else's drama. You become the force that defines the scene. The stage is yours. Now go out there and direct the performance. We have explored the nature of the mask, the art of camouflage, the dangers of internalization, and the dynamics of power. Now we must address the final evolution of the actor, becoming the master of all masks. This is not merely about playing roles, it is about achieving a state of conscious detachment that makes you untouchable. Most people are limited because they are emotionally invested in their personas. When you are invested, you are reactive. If someone insults your professional persona, you feel a personal attack. If someone rejects your charming persona, you feel wounded. But the master of all masks feels nothing of the sort. He views his personas like an artist views his brushes. If one brush is not working for the canvas, he sets it aside and picks up another. He is never insulted by the task at hand, he is simply focused on the result. To reach this level, you must practice emotional disconnection. When you are in a role, you must be able to switch it off instantly. Imagine yourself leaving a room and physically hanging your persona on a hook by the door. In the next room, you are someone entirely different, perhaps quieter, more observant, or more commanding. You are the architect of your presence. This practice builds a psychological muscle that allows you to remain calm under immense pressure. While everyone else is busy protecting their ego, you are busy executing your strategy. Remember, the world does not reward those who are simply themselves. It rewards those who understand what the world needs them to be. History's greatest figures were not consistent, they were adaptable. They could be brutal in war and gentle in diplomacy. They could be commoners when listening to the people and gods when leading them. They were not liars, they were masters of the human experience. As you move forward, look at your life as an ongoing experiment. What roles have you been playing that are holding you back? What new personas could you adopt to reach your goals? Stop fearing the mask, embrace it, refine it. Use it as a tool to navigate the complexities of human nature with the cold, calculated precision of an elite player. You are the director, the actor, and the script writer. The stage is yours. Make every performance count. This is how you transcend the common herd. This is how you become a master.